welcome back to Reading and Drinking with Brittany featuring Loki, because he won't leave me alone today. Sorry it's been a while. If you're curious about what's going on with Sarah and Shane, we're about to get to it. Today I am drinking Ruby Red Grapefruit Vodka by Deep Eddy and soda water, courtesy of my Soda Stream, which is one of the single best inventions ever created and one of the best things I've ever bought. I'm on a diet-ish lifestyle change kind of thing. I've lost 8 pounds, hence why this is lower calorie and it's not beer. Still tastes good though, if you like grapefruit, which I do. So, let's get started. We are on chapter 3, if I am not mistaken, so let's get into it. Looks like we left off with Sarah's mom leaving her to be sad again for the night. What's going to happen next? Let's see. So this chapter, we're going back in time to after Shane and Sarah's first date. Shane waited 2 days before he called Sarah. She caught herself looking at her phone every 5 minutes. We've all been there. Leading up to his call to see if he had texted or if she had missed a call from him. 6 times she had picked up her phone and started to text him, and 6 times she had hit backspace and discarded the text. She hated herself for it, but she hadn't met someone she really liked in a long time. She barely knew him, but she desperately wanted to know him more. She was waiting in line at Starbucks for a coffee when her phone started vibrating in her purse. She pulled it out and saw his name lit up on the screen. Her heart leaped up into her throat. He was calling. He was actually calling. What would he say? What would she say? Were they going to go out again? What can I get for you? The barista said, bringing her back to reality. What a bummer. Sarah suddenly found herself at the front of the line. The barista looked at her patiently, awaiting her drink order. She held up a finger. I'll be right back, and dashed out of the line. She rushed to a table and sat down and answered the call. Hello, she said, in her best telephone voice. She always hated how she sounded on the phone. Recordings of her voice always made her sound like a 12-year-old boy, and she was very self-conscious about it. Her phone voice was about 2 octaves higher than her natural, huskier voice. Hey there, Shane said. How have you been? Oh, just fine, she said. Just working hard on the fall production. That's good. I was hoping you could tear yourself away long enough to go out with me again this weekend. She said, hoping she sounded more coy than hesitant. I don't know. My actors are very possessive and demanding, and I may have to check with them. He was like, oh, okay, well, maybe another time then, Shane said. He sounded disappointed. I was just kidding. I'm sorry. I thought I was being coy. I'm so bad at this. I would love to meet up this weekend. God, she was dumb. Shane laughed. Well, apparently my joke radar is broken. We both need some practice. How about Friday? I can pick you up at 7. Absolutely. I'll text you my address, she said. A smile is starting to invade her face. After they hung up, she got her iced coffee and headed to rehearsal, obsessing about what she would wear for their second date. She might need to go shopping. On Friday at 6:30, she was standing in front of her bathroom mirror, staring at the outfit she had chosen. She had decided on a black bodysuit with a V-neck that cut just low enough to show off her ample cleavage and a pair of high-waisted forest green pants with a set of 6 gold buttons on the front. The outfit accentuated her hips, which were quite wide. She had never been a rail-thin girl, but she had never considered herself fat either. She had wide hips and big boobs, which made her waistline seem smaller than it actually was. Her love for food and alcohol kept her from having the perfect waistline, but she felt confident that her choice in outfit was pleasing to the eye. She had just pulled her long auburn hair into a high ponytail when she heard a knock at the door. Ooh, he's here. Her black ankle boots carried her towards the door as if on their own, and she took a deep breath before she opened the door. Shane stood there wearing a t-shirt with Homer Simpson choking Bart on it, a pair of jeans, and black Converse. He had let his stubble sprout into a beard which fit his face perfectly, and his shaggy hair was covered up by a baseball cap with the name of a brewery she had never heard of. He looked so casual, yet so sexy. She realized she was staring, but it didn't matter because his eyes were soaking her in as well. You look amazing, he said, and the husky tone of his voice told her that he meant it. I'm sorry I'm not more dressed up. I had to come straight from work. IT emergency. He actually looked self-conscious. Shush up, she said. You look great. I love your shirt. He seemed to loosen up a bit. So, where are we going? It's a surprise, he smiled. 20 minutes later, Sarah found herself outside of a bar that read Happy Night Karaoke. Apparently, Josie had told Shane that she loved karaoke, which was true, and he had rented one of those karaoke rooms where you get served food and alcohol in a private room while you sing your heart out on a little stage. Sarah couldn't think of a more amazing date, but she was also hyper aware of the fact that the two of them were in a room alone for an extended period of time. Shane ordered a bottle of sparkling rosé and a bunch of appetizers. His first song choice was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, and she was blown away. He knew every single word. She chose the Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way, and was surprised that she wasn't even a little bit embarrassed by her long-standing obsession with the boy band of her childhood. Side note, if anybody knows me, you know that I have put a little bit of myself into Sarah here. Backstreet Boys rule. Anyway, back to the story. Oh, lost my place. After a few classic karaoke songs and several glasses of rosé, Shane went to the computer and typed in a song with a smile and hopped on stage. The familiar melodies of Ice Ice Baby started coming through the speakers, and Sarah cracked up. He pointed at her and gestured for her to come and join him on stage. Boop, boop. She grabbed the second microphone and they danced and rapped together in the silliest way possible. When the song was over, he hopped off stage and turned and held out his hand. She took it and stepped down. Their faces were inches from each other, and she looked down at his feet. He reached out and touched her chin, lifting it so that their eyes met. Then he leaned in and gently kissed her on the lips. She had the urge to press her face hard into his and shove her tongue down his throat, but she also had had a lot of rosé and knew her urges were not completely her own at the moment. The kiss seemed to last an eternity, and she didn't want it to end. When he finally took a step back, his blue eyes were shining. I really like you, he said. I really like you too, Sarah smiled. Then she bounced over to the computer and typed in Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot. When Shane realized what song was coming on, he jumped on stage with her and they were back at it again, dancing and singing like there was no one else in the world, and at that moment, there wasn't. When Shane dropped her off at her apartment, she desperately wanted to invite him inside, but she really liked him and wanted to break her pattern of sleeping with men so easily. Instead, she leaned in and kissed him on the lips again. This time he parted her lips, sliding his tongue across her teeth, sending a spark of electricity down between her legs. Ooh. She opened her mouth, accepting his tongue and pushing her own tongue back into his warm, welcoming mouth. He was a great kisser, and it felt like they could sense what the other one was going to do before they did it. There was no awkwardness at all, and the urge to bring him inside had become even stronger. He broke away first, a smile spreading across his face. His smile was something else. His two front teeth were slightly crooked, and he had a tiny, deep dimple on the right side of his mouth. His eyes seemed like they were being lit from within, and just the sight of his smile made her heart stop, and in that moment, she knew she was in trouble. The end. So, that's chapter 3. A really good second date. I hope you enjoyed it. It was kind of awkward reading the little sexual parts out loud, even though they're kind of PG at the moment. Maybe they'll get worse later, better, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, thanks for always supporting recreational paperwork and for really enjoying these stories. I will try and get another one out to you next week. Y'all have a good night.